the simple assistant who made Marvel a multi-billion-dollar empire. In recent times, Marvel has led the movie industry in terms of popularity and revenue. When other production companies are looking to hit the billion-dollar valuation for themselves, Marvel churns out billion-dollar firms. Talk about levels. However, there was once a time when Marvel wasn't the force it is now. However, one simple assistant changed all of that. Today, we will be talking about the simple assistant that made Marvel a multi-billion-dollar company. His story is motivation for us all who are looking to get ahead in life. So, how did he do it? Well, stick around to the end as we answer this question and more as we delve into the details surrounding the production company. Without further ado, let us begin with the video. So much talk of this simple assistant makes you wonder who that person is. Well, of course, it is none other than the legendary Stan Lee. May his soul rest in peace. That being said, let us now talk about his life to better understand his story. The story starts all the way back on December 28, 1992, when Stan Lee, then known as Stanley Martin Leiber, was born. Born to Jack and Celia Leiber, Lee grew up in rather poor conditions, as this was mostly due to his father being a substandard businessman who was pretty unlucky with his dealing. As a result, the family lived in an apartment where Lee and his brothers shared a bed, while his parents slept on a folding couch. As you can imagine, they were struggling a lot. Now that you know about his living standards, you can understand that he knew the hardships and struggle one faces due to financial constraints. He was pretty well educated for his age, since as a child he used to like books, and hence used to read them a lot. This developed his love for writing. He dreamt of becoming a famous novelist later on in life. He even started taking part-time jobs that involved writing at a young age. Such was his passion for writing. However, his big break came when he entered an essay writing competition organized by the New York Herald Tribune. After managing to win it 3 straight times, the newspaper suggested that he should consider writing professionally. This was the motivation he needed, as now he was determined to become a writer. Later on, Lee claimed that moment probably changed his life. As you can see, his goals were quite different from normal teenagers at the time. Maybe this was due to the hardships he faced at such a young age. What do you think? Comment down below. After graduating from high school at the tender age of 16, Lee opted to start pursuing work instead of college as his family could not afford it. Hence, with the help of his uncle Robbie Solomon, he was able to land a job as an assistant in the Timely Comics division. His work was nowhere near as a writer, as he mostly just swept the floor, changed the ink for the other writers, and occasionally proofread written pieces. However, comic book publisher Martin Goodman saw how talented and passionate he was in the art of writing, and he gave him the chance of writing a piece in the hit comic book at the time, Captain America. Interesting to note here that Stan Lee didn't use his name at the time for this comic book. He was so embarrassed to write in a comic as he believed a writer's place is in novels, not comics. Hence, he identified himself as Stan Lee instead of his real name, Stanley Martin Leiber. You must be wondering, how did he get the name later on? Well, seeing how popular his name had gotten, he opted to legally change it. Amazing, isn't it? We got a little sidetracked here. Let's go back to the story now, shall we? Well, after watching the work he did, Goodman started to trust him more and started to give him more comics to write on. He wrote a lot of comics then, with the majority of them being average in terms of sales and popularity. Lee also started more work on superheroes, most notably Jack Frost, who along with other heroes helped make what we call nowadays the golden age of comic books. As you can see, Lee was sure and steadily rising above the ranks. However, in 1941, there was a change in personnel. Jack Kirby, who Lee greatly liked, left the company due to a dispute with Goodman. This resulted in an open slot as an editor. Goodman, who had already seen Lee's potential, gave him the promotion to interim editor. Given Lee was just 19 years old at the time, this was an amazing achievement. Remember when I said that Lee did not like being a comic book writer, as he preferred being a novelist. However, over the years, since he had been so successful, he thought he would become a publisher for Timely Comics. In order to reevaluate his thoughts, he joined the Army in 1942. However, he was still determined to work, as he continued to do the work that was assigned to him through the mail. He was relentless, always took out time to finish the task before the allotted deadlines, and would mail the company back later on. Although he was thinking of leaving the company and living his dream, he was still committed to working for the company. Now that is pure determination. We should learn from Lee and follow his work ethic. Later, he came back and continued his job. The 1950s came and Timely changed its name to Atlas. Lee continued writing comics and soon became bored with it. His work was not selling that well, and there was always that question of, are people even reading this? This resulted in demotivation. And in the later parts of the 1950s, Lee was ready to leave the company. At the time, by the way, the company had switched to the name Marvel Comics. However, before he could leave, Lee was tasked with devising a comic that could compete with the DC Comics portrayal of the Justice League, which was becoming a big favorite amongst the public. Even though he didn't want to do so, Lee was convinced otherwise thanks to his wife, who said, "This is your last job. What do you have to lose?" Hence, Lee realized he had creative freedom with this one and started to work again. He was so motivated by this new profound freedom that he even asked for the help of Jack Kirby for this new project. And lo and behold, the Fantastic Four were born. The Fantastic Four was an immediate hit. This gave Lee the motivation to continue to run his creativity over his work. As a result, many superheroes we see nowadays on our screens were born. Firstly, the Hulk was introduced. Then later the rest came, such as Thor, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange. One thing Stan did different here was that he gave them all problems of their own, going away from the current scenario that superheroes are perfect in every sense. Stan understood that making them perfect had a major flaw. It only appealed to little children, as adults would not like something that seemed so fake and not even a little relatable. Giving them problems made the superheroes relatable and hence appealed to a larger audience. All these superheroes were successful at the time. However, none of them matched Marvel's most successful character, Spider-Man. In fact, all of these superheroes were initially liked by Solomon except for Spider-Man, who according to Solomon was too young and had to be a sidekick rather than a superhero. And secondly, no one likes spiders. As a result, Lee's idea was turned down. However, Lee knew this was an amazing idea. He continued to work on it and in the end, published it in a magazine that Marvel was planning to get rid of. He just published it and did not think much about it. The next day, Spider-Man instantly became a hit. Later, Lee joined all his creations together to form the Avengers. Have you connected the dots now? Now, the Avengers is one of the most popular movies in the world. As you can see, Lee came from absolutely nothing and managed to write about superheroes that, as we all know, helped make the company billions. From Spider-Man to Iron Man, all of these superheroes became a massive hit in their movies. What could have happened if he had left the job before writing about these superheroes? What could have happened if he had not posted about Spider-Man? Well, the world would not have known about the billion-dollar company by the name of Marvel. Now you know how a simple assistant managed to make Marvel a billion-dollar company. We should take notes from Lee, as he is the perfect example of hard work, commitment, and determination. If he could become a legend from just being an assistant, we can be so much more. That's it for the video. I hope you liked and enjoyed the video. Please let me know by pressing the like button, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for future notifications. Till then, take care of yourself, and I will see you guys in the next one.